Stay tuned, everybody, because it's time for the Playin on Music Row podcast with your host, Fran. Heard each week on this station. And now, here's Fran.
Well, welcome, everyone. Today, we have a real interesting guest. His name is Brian Iannucci.
Hey, Fran, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. I appreciate you coming today and taking the time to speak with us today. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I want to start off here and just ask you a question here. I hear that you showed a passion for music at a young age. Can you tell us how that was expressed?
So it was funny. At 5 years old, my mom talked a piano teacher into taking a student that was 2 years younger than she normally took. I was a rambunctious 5-year-old, and I guess my mom thought taking some type of musical instrument would calm me down and give me a bit of direction, and it just stuck. I had such a passion for music starting at that point, started writing, started singing and performing, and it just had a great time with it throughout my life.
Okay. Well, let me say here, we're going to go now into something recent here, because I want to ask you about, you started a new music company. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what you've done and what it does?
Sure. So a good friend of mine and I, Jim Scarborough, started Mootown Cowboy. And this is a small boutique outfit that we're using to promote small artists and really focus on songwriting and lyrics as an art, and be able to have a broader audience for writers and such as myself and other writers that have a passion for music.
Okay. Now you have a single release which is called "Kiss You for the Rest of My Life," and
Yes.
you have a video on that, and I'd like to play that song and play the video. Can you tell us a little bit about the song, maybe about the
I
video
love
when
this
you came
song.
up with it?
Sure. So a good friend of mine, Scott Triplett, came up to me and said, "Brian, I'm proposing to Danielle. Will you help me write a song to her so I can get down on my knee and propose?" So in a real quick, short time frame, we came up with this wonderful song. And throughout the video, you're seeing tracks and pictures of Danielle and Scott. And it was an amazing opportunity. They came to one of my live shows. I brought them up on stage and kind of made a show of it. Started singing the song, and about halfway through the song, she was like, "Gosh, this sounds super familiar. The story here sounds way, way too familiar." And lo and behold, Scott got down on one knee at the end of the song, and she said yes. So we were real excited to take this song up to Nashville and record it up at Omni Sound Studio.
Well, that's great. Let's play the video now. "Kiss You for the Rest of My Life."
We were drinking wine all day until dark. Our fingers touched and ignited a spark. Your hand on my thigh, that look in your eye. I had to know if what I'm feeling is true. That's when I asked, could I kiss you? I want to kiss you for the rest of my life. I want to kiss you in the morning and before bed tonight. You got me on one knee asking if you'll be my wife. I want to kiss you for the rest of my life. It was a Thursday unlike any other day. Unbeknownst to me, my heart wouldn't beat the same way. Everyone kept interrupting, all we wanted to do was talk. I hung on every word and got lost in your eyes. I knew then, on the first night, I want to kiss you for the rest of my life. I want to kiss you in the morning and before bed at night. You got me on one knee asking if you'll be my wife. I want to kiss you for the rest of my life. for the rest of my life. I want to kiss you in the morning and before bed at night. You got me on one knee asking if you'll be my wife. I want to kiss you for the rest of my life. I want to kiss you for the rest of my life.
Okay, well, great. And you did that. You recorded that at Omni, did you hear in
I
Nashville?
did. I recorded up at
Yeah.
Omni.
On Division. Yeah, that's a really nice studio there.
It's a great setup.
Yeah, yeah. And now who's that couple in the video? Was that them?
So no, that was a lot of stock footage, and all the
Okay.
pictures that were in there was actually Scott and Danielle. So the pictures were Scott and Danielle. The stock footage behind it kind of added a little bit of ambiance. So I have to credit my my video guy Vin Nguyen up at Tinderbox Music, and did a great job with that video.
Well, great. I think it's great to do something like that. To write a song for something like for an event like that, is it not? You know.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
What an honor. And
yeah,
you know,
right?
I'm not one to get super nervous on stage, but man, I'll tell you what, that really took it up a couple of notches for me.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, can you give us a little idea of where you find we found that particular one, but where do you find your song ideas? You know, other than someone comes and you say, I'm going to propose to someone.
Yeah, that was kind of an easy one. No, songs are really the story of our life, and all around us we see stories, and we get to be a part of stories, and we get to watch our friends be part of these stories. So really translating that into music and putting it to music is a passion of mine. My biggest muse is my wife, Stacia. Obviously, you know, we've been married 21 years, and I wouldn't trade a second. She has inspired a lot of my music. But you know, just seeing the world around us is an amazing inspiration for any songwriter.
That's so very true. Well, who are some of the writers and artists that have kind of like influenced you?
God, that's a great question. You know, you think back to songwriters like Bob Dylan, and you think performers and writers like the Beatles, the Eagles, George Strait, Garth Brooks, some amazing songwriters out of Nashville over the years that have just inspired us and given us so many great lyrics. We see new folks like Thomas Rhett out there, who just has such a great way of turning phrases that really fits with today's country music. So many artists to name out there that really inspire my music. Lionel Richie, Billy Joel being a piano guy. It's amazing to take influences from across the musical spectrum and put them into what I do on a daily basis with my music.
Okay. Well, you have another song which is a single you're releasing called "In My Mind." Can you give us a little bit of a background? We're going to play that, so maybe you can tell us a little bit of the background, how you came up with that song and recording,
Sure.
etc.
So I think we all have at least seen a friend of ours or experienced ourselves getting back into the dating pool. A good friend of mine who I co-wrote this song with, it was funny. We were chatting. He had been in a committed relationship for years and years and years, and his partner had recently passed away. And getting back into the life of being single and talking to people is such a transition for somebody who has been, quote, on the bench for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
So is it in your mind? Is it in your head? Is she interested in you? Is she flirting with you? Is she not? What do you do? And I love the vulnerability of this song, especially from a male perspective. We always see that confidence in music. And I love the vulnerability of seeing the male character here, you know, putting the ball in her court, and, you know, it's up to you. You've got nothing to lose. what's the story kind of thing. So it's just a fun song. And I, again, had a chance to record this up at Omni Sound Studio as well recently, and just had a great group of musicians that were playing with me and doing a wonderful job. So been real pleased with the way this song has been received.
Okay, excellent. Let's play In My Mind by Brian Iannucci.
It's been a long time since I met somebody new. I never thought it would be someone like you. They say these things happen when you least expect. Keep asking myself, what should I do next? Maybe I'm reading all the signals wrong. Heaven knows it's been way too long. I'm trying my best not to second guess. This is where I belong. Maybe it's all up in my mind, but did you just smile at me? Could it be the right time? I should have just let it be. When can I touch you, kiss you, and will you be on mine? Until then, I think this thing might be up in my mind, in my head. I wanna be holding you instead. Am I wrong? Is it time or in my mind? Looking at you across this crowded room, what should I do? You have the next move. The way I'm feeling's got me so confused. It's up to you, you've got nothing to lose. You're not reading all the signals wrong. Heaven knows it's been way too long. This feeling here is something strong. This is where I belong. Maybe it's all up in my mind, but did you just smile at me? Could it be the right time? I should have just let it be. When can I touch you, kiss you, and will you be on mine? Until then, I think this thing might be up in my mind, in my head. I wanna be holding you instead. Am I wrong? Is it time or in my mind? In my mind, in my head, I wanna be holding you instead. Am I wrong? Is it time or in my mind? Maybe it's all up in my mind, but did you just smile at me? Could it be the right time? I should have just let it be. When can I touch you, kiss you, and will you be on mine? Until then, I think this thing might be up in my mind, in my head. I wanna be holding you instead. Am I wrong? Is it time or in my mind?
Very cool. We want to get that last note in for sure.
I appreciate that.
Lisa, how would you describe your sound?
Unique.
That's good.
off the beaten path, eclectic. And I say that because I come at songwriting, again, as a piano player. Though, you know, I play a little guitar, I play a little bass, play a little drums here and there. But as a piano player in a guitar town, it really is an interesting way to come about country music. And I always tell folks, I came about country music from a little bit of a different path. And, coming from a pop background and a piano background, and, coming from artists like Bryan Adams and the Beatles and Richard Marx, growing up and being a 90s baby, and then falling in love with 90s country like Garth, Diamond Rio, Lone Star, because of the amazing piano licks and riffs that come into that, combined with the fact that I just have a passion for a lot of different types of music. And when I do a piano bar show, which is a fun solo show that I like to do on occasion, uh, it's no holds barred. We're playing everything from hip hop to grunge to alternative to old school rock and roll to the Beatles to country to you name it. So I think all of that seeps into my sound to make it very unique. And I'll say one last thing. I work with an amazing group of studio musicians that lend their personal sound to what I do as well, which I think is super important.
And that's very true. But a question I want to ask you is because as a piano player primarily, but I do play guitar. I always pretty much write almost exclusively on guitar, especially if I write something like you just did. That you're moving along, because I always seem the piano always seem to be a ballad. So what do you write mostly on piano?
I do. It's kind of whatever instrument is closest to me. So I've got my guitar right back here. I'll grab that when inspiration hits. But when I sit down and do an intentional songwrite session,
Okay.
I've got a piano or a keyboard with me, and that's where I'm coming from primarily.
Okay. Well, how do you promote your music and your career? Do you have anybody helping you promote? You just,
So I use a team called Music and Film. They're based out of Nashville, and Stephen Wrench and his team are amazing, and they have promoted my music worldwide. I can't say enough great things. I've had a great opportunity to do a bunch of co-writes with Stephen Wrench as well. I also use a great team out of Minnesota, and they're also in Nashville as well, called Tinderbox Music. John DeLang there and his team are amazing when it comes to social media and helping me get my sound out there. That's the big challenge that artists face nowadays. There's so much competition. It's hard to get your music heard because everybody is able to get their music on, and using technology online, be able to get their music out there. So to have a great team and these great folks behind me is really, really awesome.
that's very true. When did you start performing, and can you give us a little idea whether you're going to be performing in support? I think your album is called Double Felony, right?
Yep, my album Double Felony. It's funny, I have one right here, right?
Oh, good. Let's do some promoting.
Yeah, it's a 24 track double CD set that I wrote, and I'm super excited to put this out. Just put it out December 29th. I'm going to be performing in the Jacksonville, Florida area for the majority of the spring, and doing some solo shows, some bigger shows. So we really encourage folks to come out to those shows as well. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun recently, getting an opportunity to play these new songs for folks, especially for audiences that have not had the opportunity to work with me yet or hear my music.
Where in Jacksonville will you be performing? Do you have certain places or festivals or something? I know they have a lot there.
I do. Oh no, we have a ton here in Jacksonville. I perform regularly at a place called Enza's Italian Restaurant, and I do my regular piano bar show on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays there. And we book other shows on the other dates and do some traveling with full band and other things like that. But yeah, my primary seat has been for a number of years at Enza's, and I just have a blast in there, get to relate with the crowd, do a full request show, play a lot of my originals, and really get to meet people and talk music and have a good time.
Yeah, what times are you there on those days? I mean, mention the days. What day? Because people watching this want to come out and hear you.
Sure. So Enza's Italian Restaurant in Mandarin, Florida, which is in Jacksonville. I'm there 5 to 9 p.m. on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And their website is Enzas, ENZAS.net. So you can find the entire music schedule there. We do have music 6 nights a week there.
Okay. Well, now that we know that, how can people find out more about someone named Brian Iannucci?
Brian Iannucci. It's very simple. If you happen to have your cell phone handy, there is a QR code. And I pop this up for folks because Iannucci is kind of, what kind of musician is named Iannucci? And I'm just so proud of my Italian heritage and my father's name that, I haven't changed it. But you can find me at brianiannuccimusic.com. You can also find me on Spotify, iTunes, all of your favorites. Ask Siri to play my music. Ask Alexa to play my music. And please reach out. Let me know on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter what you think. And I'm excited to meet more fans and engage folks. That's the best part about music, is getting to chat with folks who have listened.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. I've asked you a lot of questions. Is there anything you want to maybe tell the listening audience or viewing audience as well that I haven't asked you?
Well, gosh, well, let me tell you a little bit about my personal background. In addition to being a full-time musician, I'm also a full-time college professor. And you're coming live from my office here at home today, where I actually hold a PhD in business administration, and I teach graduate leadership and strategy. So, it's an interesting Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde mix sometimes. But I find that it's a fun opportunity, and more and more I've been transitioning to playing music full time, and so I'm looking forward to expanding that and touring more regionally, nationally, and even internationally coming up. So on the strength of this album, which has a little something for everybody, you're definitely going to be able to find songs, whether it be a nice love song, a great toe tapping song, some patriotic anthems, and stuff you can definitely relate to, because every one of my songs is based on the human experience.
Oh, well, great. Well, Brian, I want to thank you for playing a Music Row with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Fran. I appreciate you having me.
You are quite welcome.